Hey friends, welcome back to yet some more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and all that kind of stuff. So make sure to subscribe for more Reddit content if you haven't already, and let's get into today's stories. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let a woman take from my greenhouse and pressing charges? I, 30 male, live in a nice little neighborhood. Everyone knows everybody. We all have our own space and many have flower gardens. I have a greenhouse in my backyard that is visible from the street and behind a 4-foot picket fence. We got a new neighbor. Haven't had the chance to meet them until today. I have a camera in my yard that notified me of movement near the greenhouse, so I went and checked, and that's when I found a lady and a young teen picking tomatoes and peppers in my greenhouse. I raised my voice and asked what on earth they were doing, and the woman says it's fine, she's friends with the owner. I asked if she wants to run that by me again, because I'm the owner and I don't know who the hell they are. When she realized she was caught, she tried to leave with a bag full of vegetables. I told her she isn't leaving with that food and she has 2 minutes to drop it and leave or I'm pressing charges. She starts crying that she's trying to feed her child and needs it, and that she can't afford this on her record. But I didn't feel like rewarding a thief and took the food from her and called the cops. She's telling everyone I'm an asshole and a toxic man. And though most are telling her she's in the wrong, her friends on Facebook are telling me I'm an asshole and should be ashamed. Edited for information. When she was offered the chance to leave without police involvement, she screamed at me and broke a pot that had some chives growing. I don't have her on Facebook, however my name is on my mailbox, and have since put my account to private. If she had asked first, by all means, I would have given her a couple peppers, tomatoes, even some squash, but she didn't. Okay, first off, yes, it is unfortunate that someone can be struggling for food so much that they resort to stealing, but that still doesn't make it right. And even when she was caught red-handed, she could have said sorry and left, maybe even been given some food by OP after apologizing even after OP caught her stealing. But that's not what she did. She tries to lie to OP saying she knows the owner. And when that doesn't work, she even tries to run off with the food anyway. Not to mention breaking stuff out of anger when OP doesn't let her get away with it. So all things considered, in terms of whose fault it is that police got involved and she got a charge, that's definitely her own fault. Karen yelled at me, a homeless guy, for, quote, trying to steal a library computer. I've been homeless for a while, but now things are looking up. I managed to find a part-time job, left the city I was in, and moved far north. Things are improving. Also, I don't do drugs or drink, so that's probably a blessing. I am still living in the woods, but now in the really deep woods. I haven't seen a single person since I got here. Unfortunately, I still need to keep my belongings charged, access the internet, etc., so I use the library. Today I went to the library, used the Wi-Fi, and plugged in my phone and battery banks. No problem. I did my thing and stayed about 2 hours. But when I left and went under the desk to grab my battery banks, a lady saw me and started screaming that I can't do that. I couldn't say a thing. She scooted right over to the librarian, because in her mind I was stealing the computers. That's literally what she told the librarian. That man is stealing the computer. I was like a deer in the headlights, my eyes wide with surprise. Seriously, I know I'm a big, scary bearded man, but come on, who steals a computer from a library? Well, then the woman stomped back over to me with the librarian in tow, and she asked, "What are you doing, sir?" I said, "I don't know what's going on. I was just unplugging my power bank." And I showed her the 4 of them in my hands. I looked at the woman who started it. Honestly, this hurts every single time it happens. And I said, "Thanks for ruining my day." My neighbors wanted to call a professional to mark their property line. My parents agreed. This was a long time ago, but I remember it clearly. We moved into a community with a tight space in between our house and our neighbors. We didn't like them being able to see into our kitchen. We put up a bunch of plants costing thousands, but my parents thought it would be worth it. A week later, my parents awoke to the plants completely chopped down. My father was furious and marched down to our neighbor's house. He told my father the plants were on his property line, therefore he had total right to take them down. He warned that if anything were to go on his property again, he would report us to the authorities immediately. Later that day, my father called the company that put in the plants, and with the warranty, we could have them replanted next week for no charge. We made sure there was no way it was on our neighbor's property. However, a few days later, we caught him chopping them down at 2 a.m. We called the police upon destruction of property, and after a chat with my neighbor, he decided to call a professional and mark his property line. My father agreed. A few days later, I got home to find orange tape in my neighbor's yard. Apparently, his fence was 11 feet over our property line. We watched as he took down his fence, completely furious. Within the next month, we were enjoying our new space and privacy in our backyard. My neighbor ended up having to pay almost $10,000 for the destruction of our property, and we got to plant our plants again. Entitled person demands to skip the queue in accident and emergency. Threatens to shoot staff. 4 years ago, in a busy and short-staffed accident and emergency department, also known as the emergency room or ER, I came on shift at 7:30 p.m. and received the handover. Over 60 patients in the waiting room and almost a 4-hour wait to be seen, including a middle-aged man that was demanding to be seen because he had an appointment. Now, in that specific hospital, you could be given an appointment for the dressing clinic that was run by the A&E staff in the mornings, only if your GP or primary care couldn't offer that service. It seemed he missed his morning appointment and was demanding to be seen. I was coordinating that area and I had one nurse to help me. Yep, 2 nurses for over 60 patients. I couldn't leave my desk for too long as I was also liaising with the doctors and the specialists to prevent the waiting time to be even longer. Here comes the entitled person waving his appointment sheet and demanding to be seen. He tells me he had an appointment for the dressing clinic and he needs his dressing changed now. I explained to him the dressing clinic only operates in the mornings, so now he would have to wait for his turn. He scoffs back to the waiting room shouting profanities. Not even 15 minutes have gone by. The entitled person comes back screaming even louder. I asked him to show me the appointment sheet, and it turns out he had an appointment for the vascular clinic to change his dressing, not even for the A&E clinic. This was strange as the vascular outpatient clinic operates independently from us, so I asked him more questions about it. It turns out he had an appointment at the vascular department in the morning. Patients were given the time slots that suit them, so he chose the appointment time, but couldn't be bothered to attend, so he presented himself at the vascular clinic at closing time demanding to be seen. The vascular staff told him they were closed for the day and he could go to A&E. I again told him he couldn't skip the queue and his appointment sheet is worthless in A&E. He kept shouting louder, saying it wouldn't take too long, so we should just change his dressing and get over it. Now in A&E, we only store general dressings for common stuff, and we didn't have what he would need. So we would have to go to the vascular ward to get the material needed and make sure we had his previous notes to continue with the treatment. Notes were handwritten and then scanned, so unlikely they would already be on the system. Also on night shifts, there is no vascular doctor. There is only one junior surgical doctor that covers vascular and ortho/trauma. I bleeped him and explained that he had a patient that was vascular and had nothing to do with A&E, so he needed to come down and sort him out. He refused because he is only a surgical junior doctor. I then called the vascular consultant on call and explained the situation. This entitled person was not A&E responsibility because A, his appointment was with the vascular team and he should be given an appointment for the next day instead of being sent to A&E, and B, we don't have the material needed to change his dressing. His answer, what do you want me to do, go over there? My answer, I don't care. Your department shouldn't dump patients in A&E. At this time, the senior doctor was in the waiting room calling patients to be seen, and the entitled person was physically preventing patients from going back through the doors, saying if he's not seen next, then no one else would be seen. The senior doctor was twice his size and told him to back off and called security. What did security do? Nothing, because they didn't have the restraining course, so they're not allowed to touch patients. Utterly useless. Chaos was ruling that department as expected, and the entitled person decides to come again to my desk, demanding to be seen and to skip the queue. When I again told him the only reason he skips the queue is if there is a medical reason, he says he will go home and get his gun to shoot me and the senior doctor. My answer, be my guest, I'll be here all night. He storms off to the waiting room and I called the police, who arrived in about 10 minutes. At this time, the entitled person was nowhere to be seen, and we all gave his details and address to the police. I haven't seen the entitled person since, and thankfully no one was waiting for me with a gun at the end of my shift. Incident reports were done, Case was escalated to the vascular and A&E director, who both agreed outpatient clinics shouldn't dump patients in A&E. I never heard the outcome of the police investigation. Oh, and the junior surgical doctor appeared in A&E more than 2 hours later to do the dressing. A customer told me to shut up at my job. I work at a gas station. At the chain that I work for, when someone comes in to prepay for gas, we have to know what grade of gas they want. I know at a lot of other stations, maybe all of them, you just put the money on the pump and select what grade you want. I don't know why our chain of stores is like this. It's usually not a big deal because 95% of the time the customer wants regular. I will always ask what grade a customer wants, because it is a huge pain if they pay with a credit card to switch grades. About a week ago, a boomer comes in to prepay for gas. The encounter goes as follows. "I need $10 on pump 3, he said. "Regular?" I ask. "It doesn't matter. Gas is gas." "Okay, but I need to know what grade, otherwise..." He puts his hand up. "Shut up for a second and listen. You might actually learn something today." I sit back to see what this asshole says. At any other gas station, you just put money on the pump. It doesn't matter what f***ing grade I want, so just do your f***ing job and put $10 on pump 3. So I put the money on pump 3. On premium. It keeps popping up on my register that the wrong grade is being selected on pump 3. I can see this dude getting more and more frustrated until he starts walking towards the store. As soon as he gets in the door, he says, "Why isn't my gas pumping?" "Well, I put it on premium, since gas is gas, right?" "Well, I wanted regular." "Oh, so I guess it does matter what grade you want. Looks like you learned something today." "Can you just put it on regular?" "Sure, but before I do, if you ever talk to me or any of my coworkers like that again, it will be the last time you are in this store. Have a great day." The next day, this dude comes in to complain about me. My boss's response to him was, "Well, what did you do to piss OP off?" Alright guys, that's it for today's stories. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. And as usual, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Reddit content. So I'm out of here, take care, and I'll see you next time.